I think that's a very good summation in terms of it being the growth, not the population. The numbers are not that important. The fact is, the more people we have, the number of people we have right now can be sustained on this earth easily, many, many times over, if we were able to use the amount of technology that would be available to us if the monetary system didn't enforce scarcity of it. So the whole thing is, if you want proof of that, there's lots of information, there's tons of videos that have been made, but you know, we're passing out that information here. But the whole thing is, that's what you need to realize. They're constricting our ability to solve issues, because if we solve the issues, we won't need the system. The system tries to keep itself, it's self-sustaining. And so we just keep feeding the system. If we stop feeding the system, the effect of the system, which is population growth, will cease as well. And it'll solve itself. You don't attack the population and continue the system, you'll just be fighting a war for eternity. You attack the system. So, that's, and then I guess Mel has some to add.
Yeah, let's not, remember, he's using the word attack in an esoteric sense. Yeah, a poetic sense. We don't want to physically attack anything. It is, in fact, it is tantamount to everything that we believe in, that we remain a peaceful movement. Violence isn't tolerated, it's aberrant behavior. And it's that aberrant behavior we don't want any part of. Aberrant behavior such as not thinking before you make a decision. That's aberrant. Anyway, so did you want to rebut at this point?
No, I wouldn't really rebut. It's just that it seems like the solutions that I've heard have mostly been so broad and vague and universal, and I'm just not clear on like where are you getting the materials for these solutions? I mean, you're assuming that you have access to the materials worldwide. You're assuming that you can get the copper from South America or the silicon from wherever. I mean,
we're not assuming that's what we want to happen.
Yeah, if we don't get that.
Usually people mismanage what they do. You know, it's not as if I mean, we talked some about the spiritual things that would need to change. If people are going to have these solutions, they would be different people. You know, people that were willing to put into place those kind of universal energy systems would not be these same people that we have here right now. So I'm interested both in the spiritual change that's being referred to, and also on a purely practical level, you know, just the mechanics of getting that machinery up and running that you believe is you know, that the technology supposedly exists to give everyone this high standard of living.
Look at Radio Shack.
I can address the second part of it. I'll leave it up, I'll leave the other part up to you guys.
I'll quickly go over the first part and then you can take the second.
If she wants a more detailed explanation about what will start its phase, so then we have a little bit of ambiguous.
Okay, well, the ambiguity is not, it's not ambiguous in the same way that like economic literature is ambiguous. There is a meaning in it. It's just, it's complex, because what we're saying is that there's, what I wanted to address was your question about spirituality, actually. That was the first part. So, spirituality is connectedness. It's not anything that needs, I can be spiritual tomorrow if I'm not spiritual today. It's not a big change that has to come over people. They just have to stop being so isolated. That alone will make them more spiritual. And it doesn't, and that's why when Michael says, you know, he'll support the Bible has nothing to do with Zeitgeist movement, but Michael's belief system is in line with the belief system of the Zeitgeist movement, because he doesn't take the dogma of religion and base anything off of that. He takes the whole religion in a historical perspective and the point of view that it's coming from, and it's another source of information. So this is not a spiritual revolution that needs to take place. It's an educational revolution, and the spirituality will follow that. So, try it.
Okay,
One thing that I don't know if everyone's aware of, in the video home, one of the things they point out in the end, but it's been pointed out somewhere else before, there's more energy from 1 hour of sunlight hits the planet every day than the whole planet uses in a year. So if we can learn to harness just a fraction of that energy, energy is not an issue. Every hour of every day, more energy hits the planet than we use in a year. So we have to figure out how to harness it. So that's where the experts come in. I'm not a rocket scientist or an engineer or anything like that, but we'll let the experts do this stuff. All right, we got more questions now.
okay. I have a list here that's going on out. So if you want to put your name on it, we're actually getting people in line for questions. So I've got Melina next. She's got a question for the panel. I have two questions. The first question is, we're all going to eventually speak the same language. Does he mean by language we will understand each other, or we're all going to be speaking a Gula language? Which does he mean?
Okay, that's the first question. Okay, let's answer that.
Okay. The question is, what kind of language are we going to learn together here?
It means the barriers that are present in our current language that prevent solutions from happening will be taken down. He doesn't want people to start speaking in tongues or something, if that's what you mean.
Years ago, when I was a young girl, people used to always say the problem is we don't speak the same language. And that one day there'll be a universal language. So I never knew if they meant we would all speak, say, a Gula tongue or a Thalassa, which are African dialects, or do they mean we will understand each other so that when we speak, whatever we speak, like tonight, we're not really understanding each other, we're going to have that as a language where when I say something, she'll know just what I mean. She'll say, oh no, let's get it here. That's what I mean. Oh, we speak the same. That's why I want to know what you mean when you say language.
I see what you mean. Yeah, I think that the movement we're trying to perpetuate recognizes both aspects of that phrase. So when we say we're going to speak the same language, we want to technically make that possible by creating a language even beyond words, a scientific language, a social language of understanding. We want to do that on a technical level, so we do need a new language, but we also need that language has to take into consideration the fact that it requires us to have compassion with one another and attempt to see the issues from the other side, because we recognize that that's all necessary information to doing things in a sustainable and a cooperative manner. So the answer is both.
Yeah, what Michael, I think, was saying was that the phrase from the Bible, in the future we will all speak the same language, is coming to being because even if you don't speak the same language, we all have the means of communicating over the internet to the point where the language barrier is starting to break down. It hasn't broke down yet, but with the internet, it has started to break down. And Jacques even talks about language in ways like, he says that engineers and architects, when they talk, even when they don't speak the same language, you understand what's going on. And he says that our language needs to move towards something like that. I don't know if we need to create some new global language, but I know a lot of people advocate that.